lost weight only to gain it right back after returning to your routine? Did your diet work for someone else but not you? Rockin' That ID Life helps you understand your genetic makeup to find a lifestyle that fits your needs. Together, you and RockinThatIDLife.com can focus on your health and meet your goals today. That's RockinThatIDLife.com.
Center Ice Brewery is a proud sponsor of Let's Go Blues Radio. If you haven't heard, Center Ice Brewery beer is now exclusively available at beer stores around town, so make sure you pick some up on your next Milk and Eggs run. That's Center Ice Brewery. Please drink responsibly. Welcome to Season 10, Episode 58. This is episode number 376 all time of Let's Go Blues Radio. We are the often imitated, never duplicated. How many licks does it take to get to the center of our Tootsie Pops? We're the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast and the longest running St. Louis podcast.
Oh, I like
it. Special thanks to RockinThatIDLife.com and CenterIceBrewery.com for proudly sponsoring the show. Please check them out. It is Wednesday, September 21st, and we're broadcasting live on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, maybe. I say maybe because we're using a new streaming service for this show for the first time, and so we'll see how this goes this evening. You listeners or viewers may notice some visual differences already. I am Curt Price, and my co-hosts for tonight's show are Bill Day and Jeff Ponder, and this will be our, I think, our final show of Season 10. Training camp starts Thursday, and that means we launch a new season, so Season 11 for the longest running St. Louis podcast next week, probably, huh? The agenda for tonight's the agenda for tonight's big show includes discussion about another egg being landed at Traverse City this year, Scandella's injury and how that affects things. Do we think O'Reilly will be re-signed next offseason? Nathan McKinnon's massive contract extension and how that may affect the rest of the Central Division after the season. Let's see, and we'll play a taped interview. Jeff interviewed Coach Joe Bova Conti of the 19 and under elite AA St. Louis Lady Cyclones. So all of that and more on this episode of Let's Go Blues Radio. Gentlemen, how are you this evening? Are you enjoying the new interface?
I am loving it. Look, can you guys see? We've got YouTube and Facebook comments right next to each other. I guess that only I see you just pulled that up. I think that only happens when new actual comments come in.
Okay.
And I'm guessing that hasn't happened. Like, go ahead and I'd say pull that up. Somebody comment. Let's see what happens here. But yeah, this is fantastic. I love being able to. There it is. Yep. So. I love it. This is great.
Nice. And if I get rid of this chat overlay and then bring it back. Okay, it's still up there.
There you go.
That's good.
Okay,
good to know.
Cool.
So we'll leave it up for now until it gets a little nasty.
Yeah. This is awesome. I love it better. Bill, you look great as always.
Oh, rocking the new upgraded webcam and amazing new headset. So you guys are coming in crystal clear. So looking forward to season 11 after we wrap up season 10 here tonight.
Oh, hello, Brandy Capone. This is my comment. Austin Lynch, woo. I don't want to do the Ric Flair because it'll piss the other two guys off on the show. But yeah, you can see we're actually able to display the comments now. This is woo.
Hope no porn bots. I can turn this off if the porn bots come, but or for those that enjoy that kind of thing, maybe we'll just leave it up there.
Yeah, or if it's just a really shitty show, just leave them go.
That is a possibility as well. Sure,
that could make it a lot more fun.
Cameron Smith, loving the new show, gents. Greetings from Washington State. Nice.
So that's always been an issue, I think, for us since we started with where we were before. With Facebook comments, it was always kind of hard to keep track of both because we had to have the YouTube up, the Facebook up. Hopefully, eventually, we'll have Twitter now too, to where we can actually stream it on Twitter. We don't have to have those windows open anymore. This is fantastic.
Yeah, this is and more of that girl, Amy, is still awake. That's impossible. What is it, 9:38?
I'm gonna roll over and wake her up.
See. All right, I think I'm gonna toggle you off for the rest of the show, Jeff. I can do that,
Sorry, Amy.
Mind your P's and Q's.
Curt, I am not sorry to you. I am sorry to Amy.
All right, well then we'll tug you off. Let's see, where am I? I lost my place in
So
the
we
show notes already.
we were talking a little bit about the end of the season here, and I just want to say, with this being basically our last summer show, we've had a lot of awesome guests this summer. I know, you look at it as somebody who's maybe not in the St. Louis area, or somebody who doesn't maybe follow St. Louis hockey, and obviously, last off season we had former Blues players come on. We've had podcasters from other teams come on. We've done, summer interviews with Rutherford, Korak, Strickland, all the, the big reporters of the team and such. But like for me, this was the most fun one to do. You guys kind of mentioned last week that these are fun because you can listen to them anytime. There's no like immediacy, like, oh, there's a new show, I need to listen to it. You can pull up the Jinsey Dunn interview a year from now and it will still be relevant. So I just want to say that for me, this past summer has been a lot of fun getting to know, Blues special hockey was a special one for me. Talking to the Science Center about their hockey project they were running, the Blues Warrior Hockey, and then of course this one, Lady Cyclones. It's just been a lot of fun to kind of learn about these St. Louis programs, and I'm hoping that people who tuned in for them learned a lot and enjoyed the interviews themselves.
We have worked out an agreement to broadcast, and this is kind of our announcement that we were discussing earlier today, a part of it. We have worked out an agreement to broadcast a show live from Cardinals Nation in Ballpark Village, which is right across the street from Busch Stadium, on October 15th, which is the date of the Blues season opener versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. So we aren't sure what exactly time yet that broadcast is going to happen, because that time will be determined by the Cardinals playoff baseball schedule. So they'll we don't want to be going on the same time as the Cards game, so it'll either be before the game if it's an evening Cardinals game, or it'll be after the game if it's an afternoon Cardinals game. So hopefully we'll have time between the Cards game and the Blues game to fit that in.
Wouldn't it be better to do a brunch show if the Blues have their home opener that night?
You know what? We could do a brunch show. I mean, it'll be worked out. So I'm sure we'll have all kinds of times to choose from.
Bloody Marys all around.
Yeah, once the Cardinals.
Oh, hell yes.
But we're scheduled to be there. So broadcasting live and giving away stickers and maybe some other stuff. For those,
I just want to interrupt you there, Curt. Not maybe, we will be giving away other stuff.
Okay.
I got some things I'll be giving away as well.
I have a bunch of stickers.
Including your virginity.
No, that's way gone. I lost that. Well, wait, which way? Male or female?
Well, I mean,
let's not go there.
Well, you just hold up your hand.
No.
Why, has it got hair on it?
Maybe.
So for those of you who do not know, the Cardinals Nation is the home of the official pregame party of the St. Louis Cardinals. So, and this time of year, you got Blues hockey ramping up. You've got the Cardinals approaching postseason, which they're in almost every season. So there's a nice little crossover between Blues fans and Cardinals fans, and games being on the same days and whatnot. So there should be a lot of people downtown on that day for the Blues. Even if the Cardinals don't play that day in the playoffs, there's going to be Blues fans down there to watch the Blues home opener, season opener, at Cardinals Nation on their TVs. It's a nice place to watch the game. Cardinals Nation hosts the official pregame party of the St. Louis Cardinals before every home game, inside the Hall of Fame Club on the second floor, inside Cardinals Nation. It's actually an all-inclusive party for 2.5 hours up until the first pitch of the Cardinals game that day or evening. A full buffet with stadium favorites such as hot dogs, brats, nachos, entree selections, salads, and desserts, along with a full-service and all-inclusive bar. Join the rabid Cardinals fan base for what has become a game day tradition. The party is interactive with all patrons. Everyone has a chance to play fun games, trivia, random giveaways, and spot a Cardinals legend from time to time. Tickets will be available for the final homestand at cardinals.com/pregame. So season ticket holders and Hall of Fame or Hall of Fame museum members, you will receive a $10 off as a thank you. So tickets are normally $40. So if you're a season ticket holder or a Hall of Fame museum member, you get $10 off of that. So it's only $30.
And can I just add, and Curt, I
Yeah.
know you've done it before. I don't know about you,
Yeah,
Bill.
I have done it. Yes.
Well
Oh my God.
worth the price of admission.
Yeah.
You make that money back. If you go by like stadium prices, you make that $40 back in 5 minutes.
Well,
it's crazy.
And it's $30 with the $10 off if you're a season ticket holder or a Hall of Fame music member. But if you're not either one of those, you get to use a promo code DJ Joe. It's all one word, and you get $5 off. So $35 is the most anyone should be paying right now with this promo code for the official Cardinals pregame party, and that's all you can drink, all you can eat. And Joe, the DJ, does a fantastic job. Plays music, humor, games, giveaways, prizes. He's a funny guy, so he's gonna entertain you out there too. For 2.5 hours.
Kids of all ages too.
Yeah.
Don't think this is just an adults only thing. There's
Right.
plenty of kids that show up there. They have a great time. They get to eat all they want. And just think about it too. Not only are you loading up on alcohol or just regular drinks and food, you fill up there enough, you're not eating at the game. So you're not spending another $80 right when you walk in for the first inning. I mean, I can't say enough. And we're not just saying this because these guys are, Joe's great. Well, Joe's okay. But not just saying that because we know Joe. And we love the Cardinals Nation serve staff. They're just fantastic. This really is a great deal. My in-laws are the ones that discovered this last season. And we started going to games together. And every time my mother-in-law was like, we got to do the Cards pregame every time. And I'm like, yeah, we do. And it just makes the game so much more fun and honestly so much more affordable.
Yeah, no, I agree. And 3 beers in the stadium is going to be $35. So, I mean, you got 2.5 hours to. Well, how much are 3 beers and a hot dogs and nachos, and whatever, and a dessert going to cost you in the stadium? $60. I mean, my God, $35 for this, and it's 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's worth it.
It's a great time. It's a great time. And it's right across the street from Busch Stadium. You park, you walk to Ballpark Village, you get there, and you can basically stay there until first pitch, and then you walk right across the street and walk in the stadium. And if there's a giveaway that day, you can go in, get the giveaway, walk out of a certain gate, right? Then you come back in a certain gate, but you walk out, put it in your car, go back and go to Cardinals Nation and hang out for 2.5 hours. And it's a really, really good deal.
And it's right up until first pitch that all that's inclusive. So it's like literally like what first pitch, usually 7:10, 7:15, something like that for a night game. You literally can just go up to the bar and order 2 quick drinks at 7:03 and you can still make it to your seat by game time.
Austin said, Austin asked this question. I'll show it. Whoops.
Nope.
Does it include parking at Ballpark Village? And then I said no. And he goes, damn. I'm like, what do you want? It's $30 or $35. It costs. Come on, go
Austin's
park 4 or 5
cheapskate.
blocks away for $5-10 and then walk to Ballpark Village.
And this is the last thing I'll say about it. For the drunks in the building here, not alcoholic because I don't admit I have a problem. For the drunks in the building, it's great because you get loaded up before the game starts. And it'll carry you through. And though I'll say maybe once I've went and got one more beer at like the 5th inning. But by the time the game's over, I'm feeling fine. I'm good. I'm ready to go home and things are great. And it's like I got a nice buzz for the first couple innings and it lasted. It's fantastic.
Austin said he'll lime scooter his way over there. But yeah, so
no, we want to thank Joe. Joe's great. I make jokes. Joe's a good dude, and he puts on a real good show.
You do not need a ticket to the Cards game to attend pregame either. You can go to pregame and you can go to the pregame party. You can hang out for 2.5 hours, and then you can just hang out downstairs, watch the game down there if you want on the TVs or whatever, or go home. You don't have to go to the game. Also, the pregame is sold out for October 1st and 2nd, which are the final 2 games of the regular season. but tickets do remain. A few tickets do remain for Friday the 30th. And the Cardinals official pregame party does continue into the playoffs prior to home playoff games. So the first two playoff rounds are still the same price, $35 with the promo code DJ Joe, or if you're a season ticket holder or a Hall of Fame News member, you get $10 off. So it's $30. So same price as regular season for the first two.
Both? Do you know if you can do both?
No, I don't think so. No, Joe said that if you're not a ticket holder or a Hall of Fame member, then you can use the promo code. I don't think you can do both.
Okay.
But yeah, so and they don't raise the ticket prices of the first rounds of the playoffs. So that's pretty good deal. So jump on the deal as quickly as you can if you want to go, because tickets do sell out fairly quickly. There's only a few tickets left for Friday the 30th. So, and come join us October 15th at Cardinals Nation. We'll be there. And I think there was a comment in the chat here. Let's see. Yeah. Joe Braze, October 15th.
And that's what I was going to say. You said if the Cardinals play, they will play. It's a Saturday.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they will play.
Game 4 of the NLDS. It's titled Joe Bray's Videos, but I do believe that might be Chris Bray, a friend of the show. He's a friend of the show. He was on Trivia. Friend of mine.
And I'll add to that with this, we're going on, what's the date again? October 15th.
October 15th.
We have not set a time yet. Depends on Cardinals scheduling, but make plans to be there. Let's load this place with Blues and Cardinals fans. Come for a live show of us. Interact with us. We'll probably even, I don't know. We haven't talked about what the format's going to be like, but I'm sure we'll bring people on to talk Blues.
We'll have trivia.
We'll do trivia. We're going to have a great time. So come join us. It's going to be a great time. Looking forward to it.
It'll be fun. The official beers of episode number 351. You can follow each of us on the Untapped app. My handle is CPrice12. Jeff says J Ponder 94. Bill's is Billy Blue Note 33. I've lost track. Who are we going first with? Jeff? Was it Bill?
Is this? You say you have official beers of episode 351. I think we're at
376. Yeah, I haven't changed that in about 25 episodes.
Literally.
Literally.
You know what? I started first last season, and we got halfway through the second round. So why don't we start with, let's go with Bill.
Well, this is still last season.
This is still last season.
Oh, okay. Good call. All right, we'll start with Bill next show.
All right.
So mine is Schlafly Oktoberfest. I always got to try and angle it properly. Schlafly Oktoberfest. This damn weather is pissing me off. It needs to be fall weather. We had a faux fall there for about a week and a half, but it's supposed to be nicer tomorrow. So all I have in my fridge is fall beer. So I've been like, I feel like I need to go get some summer beer. But no, the Oktoberfest from Schlafly, a very, very good beer for this time of year.
Bill, sir, what do you have?
I went fancy tonight because I realized in this move that I have a lot of beer, so I'm pulling some good stuff out just whenever the hell I feel. AleSmith Speedway Stout 2022 barrel aged. It's Butte, nice boozy flavor to it. Salad stout, not much of a head on the beer, but it's not flat whatsoever. So highly recommended if you can find it. I got mine at Friar Tuck.
I found this in the back of the fridge, and I figured I better. It's a good time of year to break it out. The O'Fallon vanilla pumpkin beer. It is good. I know Jeff has commented on this before. He prefers the O'Fallon, the straight O'Fallon pumpkin beer. I think I do too. But I've had this.
Still those pumpkin packs. Some of them aren't bad. Yeah. That's one of them. Not bad. But yeah, I definitely got to go the OG pumpkin.
At least with the vanilla pumpkin, you can actually taste a little vanilla in it. Some of these beers that they advertise, this has got this flavor. You're like, well, I don't taste that at all. You can kind of taste it. And today in Blues history, courtesy of the @STL Blues history Twitter account, September 21st, 2022. So September 21st, 2019, we were celebrating and basking in the Stanley Cup victory over the Boston Bruins just a few months prior. There you go.
We did. I was probably drunk.
You were probably drunk.
That's a guess.
Okay.
Who knows?
So we're gonna get into some Blues talk, some Traverse City talk, some about Scandella's injury, and we'll talk a little bit about Riley, and then we'll have that interview for you guys that we talked about with Coach Joe Bova Conti. After this word from ID Life.
Every beer league hockey night, I grab my hockey bag and sticks and throw them in the trunk of my car. And the very next thing I do, I mix up a boost of energy courtesy of RockinThatIDLife.com. It's formulated to break up its delivery in 3 ways, which helps me get through all 3 periods of hockey. Phase 1 provides a rapid onset of energy, concentration, alertness, and motivation. By period 2, I'm receiving a dose of sustained energy, increased focus, metabolism, cognitive function, performance, and feelings of well-being, which I need with the way I play. In Phase 3, I'm getting fatigue protection without jitters and crash, an elevated mood, and a reduction of fluid retention to help me make the big play when it counts. This same triphasic approach helps me when I drink it during work hours or simply just for a pick-me-up when I need it. Try one of the 4 energy flavors by visiting RockinThatIDLife.com, but make sure to email Dustin at RockinThatIDLife@gmail.com and tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you to receive an additional 10% off your order. That's RockinThatIDLife.com.
Oh yeah, and Jeff's shirt is legend. Yeah, there you go.
So
That's a nice
this
shirt.
is for those of you on the podcast. I was able to well, I don't know if anybody saw, but The Point was selling Jeff Burton t-shirts. I think proceeds went to his family. So I bought one. It's a picture of the caricature of Jeff with sunglasses on. Pretty famous if you're a listener of 105.7. Yeah, I think they're still on sale. Buy one now. Like I said, it helps out a family. And I'm saying don't want to say they're in need, but we all know how medical bills can be. So, yeah, help out Jeff Burton's family.
The Blues participated in a prospects tournament in how am I going to say this? Traverse City, Jeff?
No, actually, I learned how to say this properly. It's actually T-Rav-erse.
T-Ravers.
Yeah, we've been saying it wrong all this time. It celebrates toasted ravioli.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I get you.
Another year would have been more appropriate for that joke. Not the year that we just absolutely sucked balls.
Well,
there.
we sucked last year too.
I say last year was awful too.
Yeah. Did we even win a game last year? Was it 0-3 or 1-2?
I think they were 0-3.
Yeah, it wasn't good. St. Louis Blues prospects participated in the annual NHL prospect tournament in Traverse City, Michigan, from September 15th to the 18th. The Blues finished the 3-game tournament with 1 win and 2 losses. Game 1 was a 7-1 loss to the Blue Jackets. Game 2, the Blues beat the Maple Leafs 8-3, and in Game 3, the Stars beat the Blues 7-1. So if you're gonna suck in a tournament, make sure you schedule a game against the Leafs so you don't go winless. Not a good tournament for St.
They made the Maple Leafs look stupid, and it's funny because the Blues look stupid the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, it's up and down.
Yep.
Not a good tournament. They didn't have a good tournament last year. Landon Sim, the Blues 6th-round pick, number 184 overall in the last NHL draft, 2022, led the Blues in scoring with 3 goals, 2 assists, while the 2021 first-round pick, Zachary Balduc, finished second with 2 goals and 2 assists in the 3 games. Andre, yes.
I was just going to add of the play I saw. I didn't watch the whole tournament, but of what I saw, Bolduc did look like a dude who was ready to break out. I mean, he looked like a guy who did not belong, like basically a god among men, a man amongst kids, whatever you want to say.
What did I say, Bill, last show? 27 games for the Blues on the 4th line, and then that'd be about it.
Yeah. Which is a vast improvement over last year, which was Bolduc. Really? He's never going to make the league.
Did I say never make the league?
I'm pretty sure
I'll have to go back and see exactly what I said, but that was the general gist of it.
It was in one of our opens. I think I put it in.
Did you?
Any show that I hosted, the open for the podcast. So I'll have to pull that back up. Because that was such a good quote. You even called yourself out. You're like, that is the worst analysis ever.
I said at the time, I said, this is going to sound ridiculous. And I remember some of the listeners in the chat was like, what the hell? That's a stupid ass thing to say. I'm like, I know. But it just popped into my head. and I typically just say whatever pops into my head. So sometimes that's good, sometimes that's not, and we'll see. I'm not saying I believe it, but I said it, so I kind of have to back it. I have to stand by it. I'm
True.
not going to be a flip flopper, wishy wash guy. I'll stand by it.
No.
And if he makes the NHL and has a nice little career, I'll walk it back.
So when Let's
him
Go
wrong.
Blues Radio is in his 30th season,
Right.
Curt will actually walk back that comment.
Yeah, right after he retires, retired number ceremony
Yep.
with the Blues.
We'll be broadcasting very late for us at the time. It'll be 6:00 p.m. every night.
Yes, I'll be in my my sandals and black socks.
Yeah,
doing the show.
Curt will have just finished supper.
Yeah,
Old men eat
4:30
supper.
4:30 supper and 6:00 6:30 bedtime. Oh, my cousin
I'll be
does that
wearing
now.
the slippers.
My cousin does that now. So Landon Sim, the Blues 6th-round pick. I said that right. Andrei Bakhanov had 3 goals, 2 penalty minutes, 1 game-winning goal, and his 3 goals were a hat trick. He was responsible for the biggest highlights of the entire tournament. He scored on a penalty shot, then completed a hat trick in the lopsided win over Toronto. He is signed to an AHL contract with the Springfield Thunderbirds, so he'll be someone to keep an eye on possibly. And Zachary Balduke, 2 goals, 2 assists, like I said, 1 power play goal, 6 penalty minutes. He was the more highly touted prospect in the Blues squad heading into Traverse City as a number 17 overall pick. He showed scouts and executives why by using his size, speed, and power. Powerful shot throughout the tournament, but to put pressure on opposing defenses. A 3-point outing against Toronto was the highlight, but Balduke was a heavy presence in all 3 games the Blues prospects played.
He was pretty much, again, the only one out there that really seemed like a threat every time he was on the rink. There was some decent play. I don't want to, in these tournaments, you're not looking for wins and losses. You're looking for how are they reacting to goals against? How are they bouncing back from bad plays? That kind of thing. Obviously not good. You look at the 2 games that they got destroyed. Not good. You don't want to see that from your prospects. But when you put it more in a vacuum, you look at the way that Balduke played. He was stepping up when they would give up a goal and he was back on the ice. He would come in and have a big play. So yeah, he was great. He had a really good tournament, and I think he's somebody to watch for with training camp opening this week.
So those are a few of the diamonds in the rough in the Traverse City for the Blues. Scandella's injured hip. He underwent. This was kind of a surprise, I guess, because I don't think anybody knew about this. Maybe Army did, but the public did not. He underwent surgery on his hip on Tuesday. Marco Scandella did. So I'm assuming the Blues doctors performed this surgery, unlike with Binnington and Tarasenko, right?
And they got him good and drunk before they did it.
Yep.
If you're a Scandella hater, maybe you're hoping the Blues doctors operated on him. He injured his hip in late August while training for the upcoming season. He is set to be reevaluated in 6 months, which is mid to late March, if you're not good at math, when there will only be about 13 to 14, 15 games left in the season.
You know what that means?
It's as good as making a trade.
It's going to be as good as making a trade.
This one may be the exception to that rule.
Right. Here's the deal with Scandella. He's going to go on the LTIR, long-term injured reserve, and his $3.275 million salary won't count against the cap until he returns, which kind of had a bunch of people on social media kind of a little miffed. Meaning we could have had the money to sign Perron, I guess, if Perron was still around in August, but Perron was signed in July in Detroit. So that, it's not like he was available in August.
Somebody waited too long to break his hip, basically.
Scandella has 2 years, including this year, remaining on his contract.
So
I think that this okay. I've said before, I thought the shortened season, the COVID shortened season, I thought late in the year he was one of the best Blues defensemen. He really was. I thought he came out, he played hard when the Blues went on that streak to make the playoffs. I thought he played great. That was the best hockey we've seen from him since he was acquired. The last season happened. Obviously not the same thing. Maybe this is kind of my optimism speaking. Maybe it's something that had been nagging him that we just don't know. And maybe when he comes back, it's a rejuvenated Scandella like we saw with Bowmeister. I'm not saying we're going to see that for sure, but there's the optimism talking for me.
So that's every defenseman, big, lanky, left-handed, rangy defenseman that we hate on this show. We just need to send them for hip surgery, and they'll magically be better. That's our hope.
Let's do it.
Puckeye 14, a good friend of ours in San Jose, California. Member of the Teal Town USA podcast. Happy autumn to you too, sir. Thanks for joining us.
Again, we got faux autumn here in St. Louis. And although in California, they don't really have seasons, right?
No. Well, after today, it's supposed to dip, right?
Yeah.
High in the low 80s at best.
Yeah,
so we're
Friday, I think, high in the 60s.
Ooh. Yeah, today was 90s, right? 93?
Yeah.
Like
oh, yeah. It was brutal today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to do about 10 minutes worth of yard work cleaning up some stuff from this weekend. And, man, that just sweating buckets.
Okay, so my take on Scandella is I when I heard this news, I was like, I mean, I don't think people are too generally upset about this. I think he can be a serviceable guy. I get it, but we have a crowded left side of the defense, right? Krug, Leddy, Scandella, Mikkola, Prunovich, and throw in Rosen as well if you want as a reserve, right? So it's like, he's set up to be the whipping boy this season, because if he didn't have a good season, like he may not have, who knows? You're gonna have people wanting Prunovich to play more, Mikkola to play more. I think I'd rather see Prunovich and Mikkola get more playing time than have Scandella eating up their minutes. I'm not sad he's out until March. I'm sorry. I don't think he'll be missed.
Yeah, no.
And I think that's the one thing to think about too, is this is going to open up more room for Perunovich to step in and prove he belongs in a top 6 role.
Yeah, we had a crowded left side.
Yeah, I mean, you almost forgot about Mikkola when you rattled off that list, and I think
I said Mikkola.
You did, but you almost forgot. Is what I was saying, right? And that's like, that was the big thing to me. Like, this, we needed to get rid of Scandella somehow, and this is the closest thing we're going to get to it. So I'm happy with it. Yeah. He was good in his days in Minnesota, and he was good for that little stretch that Jeff alluded to here.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we signed Leddy, there was absolutely no need for him on this roster. So, and there's no way to get rid of him.
And signing Leddy, I mean, looks better.
Cost us, right? I mean, most people said it cost us Perron.
Yeah, cap wise, it did. I mean, if you wanted to sign Perron, but just didn't have the cap space, so if you believe Armstrong, then yeah, it did. It looks better,
and that's what we talked about this over the summer when Perron left originally. Was people were saying, well, they picked Leddy over Perron, and to me it was more, no, you picked Scandella over Perron. Like, you needed Leddy. Leddy has proven to fit well in this team. And Scandella did when he was first signed, yes. But signing him to that contract, that is what pushed Perron out the door to me.
So with the Thomas contract that he signed earlier this offseason, and Kairu's recent contract, $8 million per, kicks in after this season. Both of them do. So O'Reilly's contract, he's up after the season. Will he be resigned? We touched on this at the end of last show, Bill and I did, but didn't really discuss it that much in detail. The Blues have shown in the past that they aren't too anxious to clear salary to make room to resign a player. Army has used we simply don't have the cap space to make it happen excuse a number of times during free agency and at the deadline. So, I mean, your thoughts on where O'Reilly stands? Because if he has a good season, he'll be 32 at the end of the season. If he has a good year, and he's making 7.5 now, I can see him asking for 5 years and 7+ and he might get that from somebody. So, there's a lot of stuff that's in motion here. A number of players come off the books. Tarasenko comes off if he's not traded. And then if we traded him, then whoever we get for him, then that eats up some of his salary. Barbashev comes off, right? Grice comes off, but we got to have a backup to replace him if he leaves. So that's money. There's a lot of essentially, and the salary cap could go up as well. But the Blues have about $16 million right now in cap space for next off season, as of right now, the way things pan out, and that's to sign 10 guys,
right?
To have
and
on the 13-man active roster. So
I really think that honestly, I know people have said this, but I agree 100%. Because we had this, my wife and I were watching you guys talk last week, and we had this discussion while the show was going, and she agreed. Well, she thinks O'Reilly's back no matter what. I used to think that. I don't anymore, and I really do hold it to David Perron. It was, I don't want to say it was easy for Armstrong to just say, see you later. I'm not even going to offer you a contract. But that's what happened. And I honestly, if you're not going to be loyal to a guy like David Perron and try your hardest to bring him back, I don't know if you do it with O'Reilly. And I hate that. I think O'Reilly, I look at a guy like Patrice Bergeron. He's 37 years old. He still provides a ton to the Boston Bruins. And I think that could still be O'Reilly. He could still be a top level guy when he's 35, 36, even 37. So I think he will get that offer of 6.5 to 7 because he doesn't play, like we've talked about this before. People bring up the David Backes contract. He was the last captain forward who walked in free agency. And people compared it to that, and it's like, well, it's a little different. Backes played a hard-nosed style. O'Reilly doesn't play that way. I think he plays a style that he can still contribute very, very well as a third-line center on a team with a Thomas, and if you bring in a second-line center, he could still contribute a ton, if not offensively, definitely defensively. So it's a tough decision. I want him back. I think he's proven that he fits in this team very well, especially if Craig Berube sticking around. But again, it wouldn't surprise me if Doug Armstrong just said, I'm not going to pay you that.
Yeah, I said last week that, at least in the chat, that, what I would love to see is them give him a 3-year deal. I don't think, I think you're right. I think that he's going to wind up getting 5 years somewhere, right? You make the comparison to Backes. Different style of player, also different style of approach to preparation, right? O'Reilly is the guy that is always prepared, always preparing. And Backes tried to reinvent himself at the end of his career and couldn't do it. It was too late for him. I think O'Reilly's starting to lose a little bit of speed, but his smarts, that he's got at least another 4 years, and somebody's going to give him 5. I don't think I don't think he's going to take a hometown discount to stay here. I would love it because Conn Smythe and all, but
yeah, it depends how much of a hometown discount he needs to take. There's a lot of things in motion, and a lot can happen between now and then. You just never know. A guy could get hurt, a guy could get traded. You never, and it could free up some space. You never know. But as of the way things are right now, I don't think it's going to be in the cards for him to stay, and that's going to upset a lot of people. I'll be upset about it. I'd love to see him stay, but I just don't think. They're cap casualties, and I think the Blues, kind of made a statement this offseason to go with the youth movement with Thomas and Kyrou, and extend them for 8 years each, $8 million per, and that's eating up a chunk of the cap. So. I don't. It doesn't look good, and I'm kind of sad about that. But I don't know. We'll see. Matt Harris said the stream
it's going to be. Yeah, we're not seeing it. Bill and I are both
right.
Just came back. Okay, Matt Harris
It might-
says it just
it
came
might
back,
be-
So
It might be just him for him, maybe. I don't know.
yeah, he might have had an internet issue or something. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be for me more than any other contract. Maybe in the last 10, 15 years, it's going to be a wait and see. It's going to be okay. Let's get into the season. He's your captain. There's going to be discussion, I have to think, throughout the year at some point. And it's just going to be a matter of how does he play? How does he look? Does this team get off to a good start too? If they crash and burn to open the year, I could see Armstrong saying, let's get rid of these veterans. We got plenty of young guys. Let's build around them. Let's just let them all go. But we'll see if that happens or not.
People are going to be pissed if he's not signed. And it'll be worse than Pietrangelo.
Oh yeah,
because there won't be any. I mean, they're not going to be rational about it either. They're going to be really angry. They're going to be assigning him no matter what at all costs kind of mentality. Especially if you've got somebody under contract that's not living up to their contract. They're saying like move that contract, so you can sign O'Reilly. I get the sentiment there, but that's easier said than done. There was an article written in the Hockey Writers. I forgot who wrote it. Was it Ethan? Maybe.
Hopefully it wasn't that terrible Steven Downs guy.
No, it wasn't him. I think it was Ethan. What's his name? Ethan. Forgot his name.
Hawk. Ethan Hawk.
Yeah, him. Yeah. Black phone guy. But he said that in his article, he said that the Blues don't want another situation where yet another captain leaves via free agency like Backes and Pietrangelo. And I was like, well, okay, the Backes situation was a godsend, not him not accepting the Blues offer. If he had accepted the Blues offer, we don't win the cup. We don't. I don't think we have the money. The whole cap structure for the team is different. That money's tied up in him. We offered him too much money. He took a little bit more, just a tad more in Boston, like the extra year, right, on his contract. I think it was about the same per year. But and he left for Boston. If we had signed him, that'd have been a problem.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah. They don't win the cup. They don't win the cup in 2019.
No, I don't think so. Not unless. I mean, I guess they could, but they probably don't. So
I don't think they go out and get O'Reilly.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, they totally don't.
No. So and that was actually a blessing. So and Pietrangelo leaving, I mean, you could make the argument he's on the downward trend too. The last 2 seasons in Vegas, he hasn't been as good as he was here. So I mean, would you have? I mean, I wanted him back. I did. I didn't want Backes back necessarily. I could see that. I could see the trend.
I was
down.
actually more upset about Elliott leaving than
I was too.
Backes.
Yeah,
because again, you guys talked about this last week that it kind of meant like, oh, so Jake Allen is definitely your number one. This will be interesting.
Yeah, it was. That was interesting.
Yep.
But we'll see what happens. I'm just waiting for it. We're going to be dealing with a lot of people, and that are really pissed. And based on O'Reilly's season this season, and based on what he actually wants money wise, maybe those pissed off comments will be legit. We'll have to see what O'Reilly wants. We'll have to see what the cap space the Blues have, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, maybe he'll be like a great captain in the Central Division and take less money so his team wins.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
That's a nice concept. Which we'll talk about McKinnon later in the show. So up next, we got Jeff's interview with Coach Joe Bova Conti. He's the coach of the 19 under elite AA St. Louis Lady Cyclones team and has been involved in coaching girls hockey on many levels, from AAA to collegiate hockey for 36 years. That interview will come up on the other side of this word from Sunrise Brewery. Jeff, do you have anything else you want to say to set up that interview?
Yeah. Wow, man, you are just reading my mind. Yes, I do, actually. So first of all, he is very involved in Lady Cyclones. He's been involved with them since the inception. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Again, this is their 20th year the Cyclones, which is ridiculous. That's fantastic for women's hockey. And obviously, friend of the show, Jinsey Dunn, other names that have come through the program. We'll talk about a bunch of them coming up here. But just ridiculous how good this organization is in St. Louis. And honestly, we don't talk about the Lady Cyclones enough. It's an excellent, excellent organization. And so very happy to have him. I just want to add one thing he told me off camera that I really found interesting. So he is their college liaison too. So basically, anytime a female hockey player is leaving the Cyclones, wanting to move on to college, he's the one that's talking to colleges for that player on their behalf. And he said there's three things, and in this order they look for. And I found this very interesting. One is character, two is coachability, and three is talent. And he literally said that colleges have passed on kids because they don't like their character. And even though they might have the most talent in the world, and I just find that very interesting when you just learn about coaching. You want to be you want to be able to be coached well. You need to have good character. And I think you guys playing hockey like you have and like I have, you find how important that really is in the game. And especially when you're young, you need to be able to listen to advice, listen to coaches. And it's just crazy the shift we've seen now and how that is more important than talent nowadays.
So we'll talk about the McKinnon extension with our comments on that. But so stick around after the interview for that. So we'll get to the interview right after this word from Center Ice Brewery. Do you like hockey? No, of course you do. Do you like beer? Of course you do. Are you 21? Let's hope so. If you answered yes to all of those questions, run on down to your local beer distributor and pick up a 2-4 of Old Arena Lager, the Beauty IPA, or any other delicious hockey-themed beer from Center Ice Brewery. That's right, Center Ice Brewery beer is available at various beer stores around town, so check around for the one closest to you. That's Center Ice Brewery. Let's go Blues.
Hey everybody, welcome back from break. It's Jeff. I'm here with Coach Joe Bova Conti of the Lady Cyclones. You are the coach of the 19 and under elite AA Lady Cyclones team and the club's college liaison. We're going to talk about how long you've been with the organization, which has been a very long time.
Right.
But thank you very much for coming on the show today.
Jeff, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. It's important to me to talk about girls hockey and how much it's grown over the last several years, especially in St. Louis.
Yeah.
We've got some wonderful people that have went through the ranks, and a lot of them came through the Cyclones and the AAA Blues, and we're just real proud of them. We're proud of our hometown people.
Yeah,
right.
So we're in the beautiful Webster Groves Ice Arena here. Is this one of the rinks that the Lady Cyclones visit a lot?
We not as much now that Centene is open, but in the past we used to run Learn to Play here every summer, and we'd bring a lot of girls in, and we'd have sometimes hockey for free for kids.
Right.
And that was years ago, but the club has brought that back. So we have several programs with the Cyclones in our 20th anniversary year here, where girls can come and try hockey for free, and we also have great Learn to Play programs. So we get them involved at a young age, and it just, you catch the bug. You played hockey, you catch the bug. And, And it's great how much the numbers are growing.
Oh yeah, no, you mentioned catching the bug. It's like, man, when COVID hit and all the rinks closed, I tell this story on the show plenty of times. It killed me. I was telling my wife, there were some things where couldn't get out and see friends, couldn't go out to even to the grocery store was a big hassle. But for me, it was playing hockey.
Right.
It killed me. Yeah. So once you start playing, you can't stop.
No, and it hurt the girls too. I'm sure it did on the boys' side, but I know the girls, they want to be out there. In the girls' sport, it's more than just a game. Mm-hmm. It's a group of camaraderie. It's a social gathering too, and a lot of parents today want their girls to play with the boys' team as long as they can. But I can tell you from experience, it doesn't help them in looking for a college. Mm-hmm. They're going to look at kids that are playing for a girls' organization, and the Cyclones is exclusively girls, which really makes it good. Makes it a good place for a source for colleges to look. It also it's a good outlet for the kids. Today's world, the kids are very stressed out. There's a lot going on, a lot of stimuli hitting them from all angles. They come to the rink for the 2 hours that they're there. They can kind of forget about that, and they're with their friends, their peers, they're having a good time. And I always tell the girls, it's not a matter of who wins or loses. While those are important, what's more important is the life skills they learn, because they're never going to remember the score at that tournament 6 months ago, but they're going to remember the fun they had in the hotel.
Oh, yeah.
And the group that, the going out to dinner and the tours and the things that we see. So that's a big part of being in an all-girls club. And you don't have that male-female competitiveness. But believe me, girls are extremely competitive.
Oh yeah, I know.
Very competitive.
I grew up with two sisters that both played softball. So yeah, I heard all about we would go out in the yard and play catch if I threw the ball wrong or if I didn't catch a pop fly.
Oh,
I heard about it for days.
Oh, yeah.
So I know all about that.
And then, as we talked before, having worked with all the Dunn girls, with Jess and Jency and Josie and Joy, and wonderful hockey family and just great people. I just absolutely love them to death. But they're very dedicated, very competitive. I was also honored enough to have Mike Matheny from the Cardinals, when he was manager, his daughter Katie, another phenomenal athlete, and then McKenna Webster, who another St. Louis girl, and there's countless other ones that have gone through our program, our AAA program, and have just went on to just bigger and better things in life. And it's a great honor for me to be a part of that.
So you mentioned this is the 20th year in operation for the Lady Cyclones. That's one of the oldest and largest programs in the area, in the region. And over 300 girls in the program. You mentioned the Dunn family coming through, McKenna Webster, all these other names. When you see, and obviously for me, I think of Jency Dunn in the Olympics.
Right.
When that happens, for you as somebody who coached her, what does that mean to you?
I'm very proud. I mean, coaching is one thing, but the athlete has to really put in the dedication and the time. And the Dunns were all there. They all the girls I mentioned. And so many of the girls in our program, whether they're a AAA player or a AA player or an elite player, the competition level is still there. The feeling to compete is still there. There's different reasons people go AAA or AA. Some of it is financial, some of it is skill set. But the bottom line is all these kids are competitive. And they work really, really hard. So when you have somebody like Jency go through the program and turn out where she has, or McKenna Webster, you see where these girls go, and it's just like, you just beam because you're so proud, because they're so humble. And you'll never see them give credit to themselves. They give credit to everybody around them.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why I guess I've stayed with the girls' game so long. Not to say that all boys don't do that, but I have found that girls, for the most part, they win as a team, they lose as a team. They're a group, they're a cohesive group, and they don't forget where they came from.
So again, you've been with Lady Cyclones now for 20 years, because you've been there since the infancy.
Right.
What brought you to them at first, and what made you stay?
Interesting to say. Well, so I haven't been with them consistently over the years. So I was there when they started. There was a program in St. Louis back in the late 90s called the Girls and Women's Hockey Association, and moms and their daughters would get out on ice. And it escapes me the man's name that ran it, but he really was kind of a pioneer in it. Mm-hmm. And from that came the Cyclones organization. They brought me on. I was coaching senior women at the time. In St. Louis, we had the Force, the Raiders, the Hurricanes, and the Surge. And it was all senior women. You had to be 18 or older to play, and I had women up in their 50s playing, and had a great time. Well, they knew me, so they said, well, will you come out to the Cyclones? And that's where I met Jeanette, the one I showed you in the picture. And so no males wanted to take a girls' team. And it was back in the day where there was a definite divide, a gender divide in sports. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, God, these kids are great. And I had been working with them in the girls and women's program, so I jumped on board. So I stayed with them until my son was older, and then I was coaching at Kirkwood. I coached boys for a long time. I did coach Kirkwood Parkway South. I ran their program, went to the AAA Blues, and eventually went to college and coached college for a year and a half. Then out of the blue, Mr. Greenberry, Dale Greenberry, called me, and he said that they needed help with a goalie. Happened to be his daughter. Apparently a goalie left the team, and there was no other goalies around, and he knew that I had coached goalies my entire life and played goal. So I came to work with this kid. And I call it a curse, but at the same time a blessing. You couldn't wear her out. The work ethic I saw from these kids at this Tier 2 level just amazed me. And their love of the game. And it wasn't the love of being somebody like, oh, I'm a AAA player or I'm an elite player. No, I'm a hockey player. Mm-hmm. And I really, and so they wrote me in again by saying, well, will you stay for the evaluations, help us with the evaluations? So I did. And then they had a group of girls, and they said, we're having trouble finding coaches, Joe, and you've been with the Cyclones all that time, and would you come on board and maybe coach a team? Well, then I was hooked again. And so I had already retired from college coaching, so I was really doing nothing. And I came back and coached, and it has been an absolute blessing. The organization, I love the organization. They really, really care about the kids. They care about the girls. And my experience when I was the director of the AAA Blues was working through colleges to help girls get college scholarships. And a misnomer is I can't get anybody a college scholarship. The kid has to do it. But I can facilitate contacts and that. And to that end, I reconnected with a man named Harry Rosenholz from College Hockey Showcases, which is worldwide. So they've been to St. Louis twice now, and they will continue to come back to St. Louis with an exceptional program where they bring college coaches from all over the country and put all the girls in a pool. Doesn't matter if you're AAA, AA, and then they're divided up into teams, and they work skill sessions and teams. It's the best thing for hockey in St. Louis. And now the Cyclones have reconnected with Harry Rosenholz and CHS. So now we've got another great outlet for the girls, which helps me as the college liaison to make those contacts and help the girls kind of achieve their dreams.
Man, that's phenomenal. So you mentioned all the teams you coached. You've Kirkwood Stars, Webster Rockets, Parkway South, AAA Blues, goalie coach and strength conditioning coach for Lindenwood University, Belleville Women's Hockey. You've been all over the place.
Yes,
as you said, you've coached men, you've coached boys, you've coached girls. What's the biggest difference between coaching boys and girls?
I think the girls, again, when I go back to that, winning as a team and losing as a team. There's a lot more cohesiveness within a girls' team. And you know from playing men's hockey, a lot of times, I always use the analogy when a guy misses a slap shot, the first thing he does is look at his stick.
Yeah, we do.
It really has nothing to do with the stick. Now, the girls won't do that. The girls will internalize. They'll blame themselves when there's a mistake. Where guys have a tendency to push the blame on the outside, the girls bring it in. The girls also, I find, especially at the Tier 2 level in the Cyclones organization, a great deal of support for each other. Because there's not that constant competition of, I got to be better for this goal. That's a total misnomer. A college coach is going to find you. If you're good, they're going to find you. And there doesn't have to be this cutthroat stuff. And the girls really don't do it. They seem to work really well together. It's been such a joy for me to work with them. And if it wasn't, I wouldn't keep doing it. Continually. It's just, I'm happy every time I go to the rink.
So you mentioned all the alumni that have come through and gone through and had some success. Do you see those people come back, and do they help you with some of the programs and some of the training?
Oh, absolutely. We had Team Missouri in St. Louis yesterday, last summer, big tournament in St. Louis, and it's nationwide. And McKenna Webster was gracious enough to come and talk to all the girls before the game, just giving up her time. At that time she was at Wisconsin playing for Mark Johnson. She's now at Ohio State because she's also a dual sport athlete. She plays field hockey and hockey, and she's exceptional in both. So at any rate, she's come back. Jinsey has come back and got on the ice. Nicole Hensley, who was on the Olympic team and played for Lindenwood, she's come back and helped. Shelley Looney from the Lindenwood D1. What an amazing person to come out and do that. And we've had Derek Pallardy from McKendree come out, and he's helped he was one of my assistant coaches with the AAA Blues. Tommy Lang over at Maryville, another great coach over at Maryville. And I'm just so proud of these guys and what they've done with women's hockey. It's really a great thing. It's a great group.
Yeah, it's funny because, I have a woman on one of my teams, and I've skated with many, many women, and it's funny, I'll talk to guys in Chicago or Toronto or wherever, and they'll, oh, you have women in your league? And I'm like, women's hockey is huge in St. Louis, and I'm proud of that. I think that's fantastic.
Oh, it's amazing. And when I was with the AAA Blues, we do this also with the Cyclones, but this came to light. We went to a Delmar Gardens, a retirement center, and all the girls came and they were going to serve lunch and snow cones and everything to the old folks there. And the people that were there were amazed that girls played hockey. You see these, 70, 80-year-old, 90-year-old women, they're sitting there, and the men, and they're going, and you play hockey?
Yeah.
They do. And, it's kind of a revelation. And there's a lot of people still that I meet when I travel that go, I didn't even know there was a girls' team.
Yep. And
now that, we're here and we've got that nice rink at Centene, we've got that beautiful base, we bring more teams in, again with College Hockey Showcase, we get more exposure for not only us, but AAA Blues, for Chesterfield, for Afton, for any club that's doing anything with girls. We get that exposure. And it's amazing. It's a great feeling.
So again, 20 years now for the Lady Cyclones, been around a while, seen a lot of success. What is it in your eyes that Lady Cyclones is doing that's kind of blossoming that success?
What we do at the Lady Cyclones that's a little different than any other organization is that we bring them from the ground up. So by getting to learn to play and the hockey play for free, we get them very young, and then they grow with the program. In some programs where you can't have the younger girls, like the AAA Blues, USA Hockey doesn't recognize U12 girls as someone that could be nationally bound. So it starts at 14, 16. But by that time, everybody's kind of found their niche, right? Mm-hmm. But with the Cyclones, we start them out so young. I mean, we've got girls 3 and 4 years old out there on skates, right?
That's fantastic.
And so they grow up through the program. And our goal as coaches is to see them prosper. If they're good enough to go to a AAA team, we help them get to that AAA team. I'm a coach that, you can't be possessive. Our goal is to make sure that they're achieving their dream, whatever that dream may be. And, NCAA D1's not for everybody. It's, there's, 41 D1 colleges, I think 71 D3 colleges. And in D1, you're pretty much a paid employee of the school when you think about it.
Oh, yeah.
But there's so many opportunities at D3, and then ACHA has opened up a whole new realm of hockey. When I started coaching years ago, the ACHA was more like a club team, kind of like, hey, I'm in college, I'm going to go out and have some party on Friday night and play hockey Saturday morning. It's no longer like that.
Right.
It's very closely associated with NCAA D3. And we see ACHA teams like Lindenwood, their D1 team now was an ACHA team, is now a D1, and they've also brought in the ACHA team. So there's a lot of opportunities out there, and the growth of hockey is very important. And it doesn't matter which level you're at, because if you're on the female side, if you're going to college for 4 years and you play hockey for 4 years, that's great. But you also have to concentrate on your education, because the pro women's hockey is not going to be where NHL is, not at least in the near future. Hopefully, we recognize these female athletes more. They deserve it. They're worthy of it. They're talented. Mm-hmm. But it's one of those things you have to kind of break that glass ceiling.
Yeah.
And I think they got it cracked, but we haven't broken it yet. So hopefully by continuing programs like we have at the Cyclones and getting enough girls in, we can start chipping away at that a little more.
Yeah, that's great. So you mentioned the AAA Blues. Obviously, you have some Blues connections. Do you guys partner with the Blues on a lot of programs?
The Blues got involved with several of our programs. They helped out some financially. There was a 14 fund that they did for a long time. But the St. Louis Blues and the AAA Blues are two separate entities. But we all work together.
Right.
It's neat. And you'll have Ryan O'Reilly come out or Tarasenko or somebody come out and skate with the girls, which is just such a great thing. And when Hitchcock was coaching for the Blues, he was so instrumental in coming out and watching the kids play, and so was Murray. All these guys came out. Hitch did coaches seminars that were completely free. Him and Bill Bennett were there, and we would have these great seminars for coaches. And so they were really engaged in the community, which is great. And they recognize girls as a growing sport.
Yeah, well, it is. It's bludgeoning. It's
great. It is.
Yeah.
The last time I did a talk about this, it was some years ago, it had grown 200% in 10 years. Wow. So to where we're at today, it's even more.
So something we loved to talk about back when the Blues won the Stanley Cup in 2019 was the thing that we loved to think about was the fact that there was kids that had probably never watched a hockey game.
Right.
And they were watching Jordan Binnington go on that crazy run. They were watching Ryan O'Reilly play at the top of his game, and it was clearly going to create more hockey fans. So now we're talking about 3 years later. Are you seeing a big influx of hockey players coming in?
Absolutely, Jeff. That had a huge impact. And then, of course, you got Maroon.
Of course.
Who doesn't like him, right?
Yeah.
And the run he's had, he's always been great with the St. Louis people, with the St. Louis girls. Barry Chapman, just a wonderful human being that's helped out so much with the girls' programs. But that really was kind of like a catalyst for a lot of the girls coming out to try to play. The advantage to having a learn to play or girls play hockey for free is you're out there in an environment where there's not that big of a difference in skill level. Mm-hmm. The thing I find with girls, too, is if you start a girl out, the development, I think, is faster than the boys. I don't want to insult any of the young men out there, but they tend to listen better. They tend to respond better to coaching. And I think that's why the programs have grown. Even when I had the senior women back in the 90s, we got so big that our team had to subdivide and then subdivide again. So we had a green team, we had a purple team, then we had 2 other teams. And then it just exploded in women's hockey. Now we've got a lot of teams that are playing all across the country in senior women.
That's fantastic.
So it's amazing. It really, and of course their daughters are playing.
Yeah.
So it's a great thing.
You're not the first one to tell me that girls listen better than boys when it comes to coaching.
Well, my daughter was like that too growing up. If you compare my daughter to my son, she was low maintenance, he was not low maintenance, we'll just say.
Now, I remember being a kid and again, talking to one of my sisters who played softball, that I would come home and I'd be complaining about something my coach said, and I'd be like, oh, that guy can't even skate. And she'd be like, well, he's your coach. He knows what he's talking about. And I'm just like, no, he doesn't. And I look back now and it's like, yeah, I really wasn't listening. She was.
Yeah, that's but they are, and the girls are they get engaged into the game. They understand it. They want to learn. So we brought 2 new girls into our team this year, and previously, I don't know what their coaching was in the past, but I'm a non-parental coach, so my kids are all grown. I've got grandkids. So these 2 girls came, and the first time it was really they were kind of hesitating and almost felt like they didn't belong. We're in 2 months of practices now, and they fit right in the mix.
Yeah.
And it makes me very proud because our girls take them in. It's not a competition. It's a coordinated effort to bring them in. And I'm very lucky on our team. I assigned 4 captains a team, two with C's and 2 with A's. And they basically run the team with me. So we communicate about everything. They're such exceptional leaders. As a matter of fact, the one, Sophia Whitelaw, I wrote her and Morgan Greenberry up for the Ryan O'Reilly Leadership Award, and Sophia Whitelaw won it and got to ride the Zamboni around. Of course, it was during COVID, so Ryan could only send her a video message, but I'm so proud of them. And then this year I added Giovanna Benoit and Hannah LeBeau as my captains, and these girls, they just take charge. Mm-hmm. And then we don't have issues of drama, we don't have issues of inner fighting, or that they keep everything on an even keel. Makes my job super easy.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very proud of all of them.
So you mentioned, somebody maybe who had never been exposed to hockey coming in and kind of learning the ropes. So, when you have that new player who maybe never even skated before, who's wanting to join your program, what's something you might tell someone like that?
You got to tell them never to stop playing. Never give up. And I always tell them the same thing. I tell them 2 things. Hockey is a game, and games should be fun. Mm-hmm. That's number 1 rule. It's always been my number 1 rule. And the second thing, if it were easy, everybody would be doing it. You're skating on these little blades, mm-hmm. trying to do several things at one time. It's one of the hardest games to play.
Oh, yeah.
So I said, but if you stick with it, and you don't beat yourself up, and I tell this to girls all the time because they get mad when they make a mistake, and I tell them, okay, you can beat yourself up, but you have to give me 5 players from the pros on down that have never made a mistake, and I'll let you beat yourself up. And then they stop and they think about it. And I also tell them one thing I always tell is, if you think you can or you think you can't, you'll be right. Mm-hmm. So let's start never saying I can't do something. Say, I'm going to try to do this, or I'll give my best effort. But when you say I can't, you're already setting yourself up for failure. And so that's what we try to promote. So it's a life lesson as well. And I think, especially in the girls' game, there's a lot of life lessons to be taught about being a strong woman, about being assertive, about understanding your role and taking leadership roles. Actually, any girl on the team could be captain. That's how confident I am with them.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I remember telling kids when I was coaching, back when Petrangelo was captain, he used to get on after games and talk about, well, I misplayed this and I did this wrong. And I'm like, see, even the captain of the St. Louis Blues knows when he makes a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes.
It's a game of mistakes.
Yeah.
And I never tell kids, I said, don't worry about making a mistake. I say, you will make a mistake. Not if it happens, when it happens.
Yep.
Because a mistake will happen in every game.
Yes, it will.
To every player.
If it didn't, it'd be a 0-0 game.
All the time,
yep.
Right? And it would be boring to watch.
Yes, it would be.
Because as a spectator, I'm looking for that other team to make mistakes. I just hope my team makes less mistakes.
Exactly.
Right? So it's just such a fun sport. Yep. It's just such a good sport, and yep. I just love it. I really do.
Yep. Oh yeah. I always tell people it's a life for me. It's like a culture. It's right. More than just I show up to the rink, I play hockey, I go home, I watch the Blues play, and that's it. Like there's times when I'm sitting at work and I'm having a work meeting and I bring up something that happened in a hockey right. game because it's a leadership moment. It's right. something that happened that relays to life, and we see that all the time in the sport. And that's why we love it.
So many life lessons out there.
Yeah.
And then when you scan everything, just a quick story about Sid Crosby, because he gets a lot of bad stuff in the press. I was up with the AAA Blues. We had a U14 team. We're in Pittsburgh, and the girls are watching the practice. Now, security won't let you get anywhere near the players.
Right.
And all the girls got their Blues outfit, which looked just like our St. Louis Blues, right?
Yeah.
And so afterwards, the girls kind of wanted to, he's waved to him, and Malkin tapped the glass, and Conklin was the goalie at the time, gave our goalie a stick over the glass. So the girls really wanted to see Sid Crosby, right?
Of course.
So they go out on the sidewalk, and everything's gated there. And we see all these SUVs leaving the practice, and then this black SUV pulls to the front of the building. Pulls up. And who is it? It's Sid Crosby. Gets out of his SUV, sits there on the step of it, and he's signing autographs. They're all in their Blues outfits.
That's fantastic.
Signing autographs, talking to him. It was amazing.
Now I can't say anything bad about Sidney
You
Crosby
can't anymore.
Dang
Right.
it.
Yeah, I made a comment on one of those sites on Facebook, and I was attacked. And I go, well, no, here's why I'm saying this. He really is a good guy.
Yeah.
And then, in my career, I've had the opportunity to coach and work with Mano Rayo, who was the first girl that played pro. Talk about a saint of a person.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we were competing. She was coaching Little Caesars, and we were competing against them at the Pittsburgh tournament. And she graciously came into the locker room, even though she's the opposing coach, before the game to talk to the girls, and then stayed afterwards and signed autographs and talked to. That's why I love the sport so much.
Gives me goosebumps.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
And she's just a wonderful human being.
Yep.
And it's just, I can't say. I've really not had very many bad experiences in all the years I've coached. You're going to have a couple little things, there's going to be some parent issues and some players' issues, because you can be the sweetest, juiciest, ripest peach. Somebody's not going to like a peach.
Oh, yeah.
And that happens, but it's so rare. It happens so, it's almost negligible, the amount of times it's happened in all those years. It's much more rewarding than it isn't.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So for parents, how do they go about maybe getting their kids involved in Lady Cyclones if they want?
Well, our website, they could go to the St. Louis Lady Cyclones website, and you can sign up for just about anything. Our president, Andy Folsom, he answers everything, and we got Rod Foss and, of course, Mr. Greenberry. We've got a lot of good people on our staff, and they will guide them through the process. I try to get to some of the learn to plays and because I like meeting the little kids. I love encouraging them, especially the little goalies, because they get so frustrated.
Oh, yeah.
And they see Coach Joe there, and I'm always real positive. I'm always getting a smile on their face, because that's what it's about. Hockey's a game, and games should be fun.
Yep.
And we can't lose sight of that. We got to have parents not lose sight of that. That these are little people that are growing. They don't need you screaming and yelling in the stands at them or at the coaches or at the referees. They need you to support them. And when they get in the car after that game, your question should be, hey, did you have fun?
Yeah.
Did you learn something? Not, it was terrible that you missed that puck in the corner. They don't need to hear that. They know.
Yep.
Support them, love them, and have them enjoy the sport. And then when you're in your 60s, 65 like I am, you can still look back and say how much fun it was. Your whole life it's been fun.
Yep, my dad was always very supportive. We'd get in the car, that was the first thing. Well, did you have fun? Yeah? Okay, well, let me tell you what you did wrong. And he would do both. It was always like, let's talk about how fun it was, and let's go over the game itself.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But the fun has to come first.
Yep.
That has to be the priority. And even if they're going for a college scholarship and they have to be serious, you can be serious and you can still have fun. I look at Marc-Andre Fleury. You look at him at every game, the man's having fun.
Oh, yeah.
That guy is I'd love to be on a team with him.
Oh, yeah.
He just brings something to the table. And, if you come into a locker room before a game and there's somebody down, it's very contagious. And you know from being in a locker room. So what affects one affects all. So I think our job as coaches and parents is to keep your kid up.
Yep.
Keep your kid up, because when they go in that locker room, they're in a different world then. They're in their world to have their fun for their life. And we shouldn't interrupt that. We should encourage it.
Yep.
And I think for the most part, parents are understanding that. They really are.
Good.
You're always going to have those outliers, but that's in life.
That's good to hear, because a lot of coaches I talk to are like, oh, the parents. So to hear that you're having good experience with them, that means
I think you have to communicate with parents. I think you have to communicate with them in a positive way, but a firm way. And 37 years in law enforcement, being a sergeant in the police department all those years, I can do that.
Yeah.
And I can be very firm but fair, and for the most part it works.
Yeah.
That's all parents want. A lot of times people just want to vent, and that's not to say coaches don't make mistakes. And I've made them. I might have short shifted a kid for an entire game because of penalties or whatever, and the parent will come to me and say, "What happened? My daughter only played 4 minutes in that last period," and I have to reevaluate and say, "You know what? You were right, and that's on me." And I think some coaches today are They don't want to say that. They don't want to admit that. But you're a coach. You're human.
Yep.
And I tell the parents and the kids, don't expect perfection from me because I don't expect it from you.
Yeah.
And we're all going to make mistakes, but as long as we communicate and work it out, we can get past it. We can solve anything. We can handle anything.
That's fantastic
And
to hear.
it works.
So again, Lady Cyclones, 20th year. That's unbelievable, and
Yes.
you guys have done some great work. So I want to thank you and the entire organization for everything you've done for the local St. Louis girls. We all appreciate it. We love seeing the success that we're getting, and a lot of it from the Olympics, the Division I athletes. A lot of it stems from Lady Cyclones. So
It does.
Thank you very much for all the work.
Thank you for doing this and bringing attention to us. It's so great when we get this type of thing in the press so that people know what we're really doing, what we're really about.
Right.
And it's about the kids. Once it becomes about something else, it's no good. It's got to be about the kids and them having a good time.
Well, that's Coach Joe. They call you Coach Joe.
Coach Joe is what I'm known about everywhere.
All right, Coach Joe. Coach Joe Bova Conti of the Lady Cyclones. Thank you very much for coming on the show
Thanks,
today.
Jeff, for having me.
Yeah,
I
of
really
course.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, sir.
Oh, hey,
There we go. Hey.
there we go. Hey, guys.
Really good interview, Jeff. I think it was one of your better ones because I think he did most of the talking.
The less Jeff, the better.
Now I want to comment on I wrote down that when he said everyone makes mistakes, it's a game of mistakes. How many times have we kind of mentioned that, or I know I've talked about that. I've told people the same thing. I'm like, well, he messed up. I'm like, yeah, hockey is a game of mistakes. You just hope that your team makes fewer mistakes than the other team and not in bad situations, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's just, you want to take advantage of the other team's mistakes. That's how you win games.
Yep. And that is exactly the way he felt. We talked about it a little bit off camera too. Just the fact that like every single team, every game, doesn't matter how good you are. Detroit Red Wings, the 2003 team that everybody says is the greatest team in history. They made mistakes. They lost games. If they didn't make mistakes, they would have gone 82 plus 16 and 0, whatever that is. 98? Did I do math? I think I did math. Thank you.
Wow.
They would have been 98-0. And guess what? They weren't. So it's just a matter of like, and again, this is what I used to tell kids when I coached them too. It's, you can't let yourself get too bogged down by making a mistake. There was times I'd see a kid, he'd make a mistake, he'd throw his stick on the rink and he'd say, or he'd throw a stick on the bench and he'd jump over the boards and he'd go, "Coach, don't play me anymore this game." No, you're going right back out there, kid. You're getting your ass right back out there next shift because you are going to make up for that mistake you made. Like, I'm not going to let you leave here and focus on that mistake. That's part of the game. That's how it works.
Yeah, no, that was fantastic. And I think it helps when the person you're interviewing just is so comfortable talking about the subject, and that just shows that how knowledgeable someone is about. Because if someone's is speaking well on a topic and is fluent and is not nervous, I mean, that just shows they're really confident in what they're talking about. So that was pretty fantastic, and he was, and yeah, it was you did a good job. Very well done.
Thank you. I appreciate it. No, he was one of my favorite guests. And what I said at the top of the show is true, that I've had more fun with this summer series than I have with any other one. And that's shocking because, again, remember in 2020, I did interviews with Jeff Brown, my favorite player as a kid. Grant Fior was on that summer. Bernie Federko. I mean, those were fun. Don't get me wrong. But being able to talk to these coaches, just understand the way that their minds work when they're coaching a game and working with kids for the first time, and just learning the ins and outs of the game from their view, their mindset. That has been so much fun for me, and I think that's something I want to continue to do for this show over summers, because I think it's at the very least it's entertaining and it's educational for everybody listening.
Well, I enjoyed it, and I know a lot of the listeners enjoyed it too that were hanging around in the chat. They said so. Matt Harris brought up something before we get into. I guess we're kind of in the rapid fire tidbits from around the NHL now, and we'll talk about McKinnon contract in a second. But Matt Harris did bring up something that I'll put on screen. He says now that Chara is retired, there are no players left that have lost a playoff round to the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I saw that little snippet the other day. I thought that was pretty funny. That and the Leafs are so fun to beat
the
up on.
last time the Toronto Maple Leafs won a playoff series, Queen Elizabeth was still alive.
Yeah. Wait, she died?
Maybe.
She passed away? I haven't seen it yet. Thanks. Spoiler.
Oh, sorry to spoil it.
Damn it. I recorded the last 2 weeks of CNN and I just
Oh, well, sorry. You missed out.
Kurt's favorite show is The Crown, so he'll never watch it
I've
again.
heard good things about it. Heard good things.
My wife did say right when that happened, that was the first thing she said. She came home from work. I was like, I guess you heard the news about Queen Elizabeth. And she goes, yep, I know that top stream show is going to be The Crown in the next couple days.
Yeah,
like,
that's probably true.
You're right, actually.
Yep.
And she was right. We kept watching it climb up the rankings in Netflix.
Okay, so Nathan McKinnon signs the richest current NHL contract as the highest paid player in the NHL for now. I guess until Austin Matthews signs next season, probably.
Right.
8 years, $12.6 million cap hit, $100.8 million total on the contract. $85.3 million is coming from a signing bonus by way of signing bonuses. McKinnon has always said that he would be taking less than fair market value, so his team could continue to win, and so they could sign more guys, right? Have more money for other people. In 2019, he was quoted as saying, "On my next deal, I'll take less again because I want to win with this group." So I guess he got his cup, and so now that philosophy is kind of out the window, and he wants to get paid now, which is fine. That's whatever. I just thought that whole about face was interesting. I know there was a lot of back and forth with Avalanche fans, when that comment was made about how he's going to take less again. And they're like, ha, see, we can retain one of the best players in the NHL for less than fair market value. Suck it. And, well, that's not the case anymore.
I love the little nudge. Come on. This was on purpose, right? McKinnon. I like Matt Harris's comment. You should pull that one up on screen. McKinnon can't hear you over the sound of his ring. Well, he still has one more ear, so he needs to win one more.
Yeah.
Patrick Waugh, he is not.
Yeah, it's not quite the
right.
Waugh quote. Not quite.
Yeah,
almost.
not quite. But no, I love the little nudge of, was it $100,000 he's making more than Connor McDavid?
Yeah.
It's so slightly more than him, and it's just that was like, okay, I'll take that much, but you got to add a little bit because I got to make more than Connor.
Yeah, and that's interesting because he went from I'll take less than fair market value, I'll take less to play here, to essentially wanting the highest contract in the NHL, right? To have it just a tick over McDavid. So that was negotiated in, right? Somehow.
Oh yeah.
It's like, I want this. I want to be the highest paid player. It's like, that is a massive turnabout from him.
Yeah, and I think I'm not a Nathan McKinnon fan. I'm sorry for those of you. I know we've got a couple of people that listen that are Avalanche and Blues fans for some very odd reason, but that I'll never understand. But I am just not a Nathan McKinnon fan. I don't like the diet thing he puts his teammates through. I think that is just such overkill. He just seems like a douche, to be honest. He just seems like a guy that, I look and listen, I'm just a fucking beer league hockey player. I'm a nobody. But I like guys, I've gone to a bar and I'm going to totally name drop here. I've gone to a bar and had a beer with Ozzie Smith before. Ran into him at the bar. People say awful guy, right? Dude sat down with me for an hour and we just sat and talked about him playing for the Cardinals and his son going on American Idol. I feel like I can't do that kind of thing with Nathan McKinnon. I feel like if I walked into a bar and saw Nathan McKinnon there and tried to have a conversation with him, they would just be shut down instantly. And I don't know, not a fan of his.
He
Matt
wouldn't go
Harris.
to a bar
That's true. That's a good point.
unless it was a kale bar.
H2O bar. A kale bar. Kale McCarr bar. Hey. Matt Harris said
Kale
Colorado,
McBar.
Kale
You got to call it the
McBar.
Kale McBar.
Colorado misses playoffs next year due to cap constraints. Confirmed. That's one of the things I wanted to actually talk about. Was that well? First, he came out a few days ago before this contract was signed, and he said this deal won't. This deal's almost done. It won't be in the single digits, meaning $9 million. It'd be 10 plus. This is way over 10.
Yeah.
But he said it will be a fair contract. I'm not so sure. I don't think you can call the richest deal in the NHL fair. I'm not sure that applies unless you're Ovechkin or something, I
don't like this deal for Colorado. I
don't either.
Nathan McKinnon is a hell of a player, and you have to lock him up. But I just look at it and say, you've got too much other talent elsewhere that you're going to have to pay. And let's face it, McKinnon is a little injury prone. I don't like this deal for them.
Yeah,
his top.
This was the year that he didn't face the big injury, especially in the playoffs. So, yeah, I mean that was the thing that I was waiting for, hoping to happen, didn't happen. Yeah, going forward, it's a lot of risk.
As far as I like this deal being a rival of the Avalanche. This is only going to hurt Colorado to some degree for signing better players in the future or retaining some of their own players. Their top three guys, Rantanen, McCarr, and now McKinnon, have an average cap hit, if you combine them all, of $10 million per season. So, and remember we made a big deal about was it the Tays and Kane making $10 million each? That was a big deal.
Well, and that's what I was going to add, was that I was excited when they signed those contracts.
Yeah.
Because I remember just being like, oh, that's going to hamstring them in the future. Good.
You throw in Landeskog at $7 million, and they got to jump through some hoops next season because they have 7 unrestricted free agents, 5 forwards, 2 defensemen to deal with, and only 14 as of right now. It's a projected cap space of $14 million to sign or to fill 7 slots. And McKinnon said in The Athletic after the deal was done, there's no reason why we can't win again. And I'm thinking maybe next season, this coming season, right? Because you've got essentially the same roster, more or less, minus Kadri, I guess. But and their goaltending is different. But so maybe this coming season is different. But the one after, I don't know. I mean, they're going to look a lot different next season.
Yeah, I look at their roster and say, I think they can be just as good this year. Goaltending, I don't know. I mean, depends on I think if Francouz stays healthy, I think he becomes the starter. I'm not a big Georgiev guy. I don't think he can lead a team to the promised land, but maybe on this roster, if anyone can do it with him, I guess it would be Colorado. But again, you just mentioned Nazem Kadri. As much as I hate the guy, he was a big deal for them in the playoffs. I mean, not only because he was putting up points, but because he became an emotional leader for them because of the shit in St. Louis, unfortunately.
Right. He's the reason we didn't make it through.
Yeah.
That's a big reason. I think, and him coming out of the whole situation like some kind of a hero, or was someone to be admired, was just pissed me off. We talked about it a lot. I mean, he is not a guy to be admired. I mean, if you're an Avalanche fan, the game after the whole shit that went down, he scores a hat trick, right, in the face of all this, these idiots online attacking him and stuff. So he comes out and scores a hat trick, and then it's like storybook, right, for Avs fans and for, I guess, the NHL. they can then promote this story as something heroic that he did. And it's like, you know who this man is? He's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
The suspension history, right?
Yeah.
You cannot separate him from the suspension history, and that is his legacy. And that, the term whitewash seems completely inappropriate here, but it seems like, it's pushed pushed his history, the narrative that became during last year's playoffs has just completely deleted that history. And that's just, he's a complicated person, a complicated hockey player. He had a great postseason, but his legacy is still suspension after suspension,
Right.
injury after injury.
And the
Another
whole
beauty
the whole thing
of
that started
this-
it. Well,
I
the
was
whole
going
thing
to
that-
say, Curt, while you say this, pull up that latest comment by Divide by Zero, because that another beauty of what we're using now. We can pull those up. I think that is
Right.
well said.
Well, yeah, and this whole thing started, and we don't have to rehash all this again, but I just want to say the whole thing started because he, drove hard to the net to create contact with Bennington. That was, I mean, that's where the whole thing started. This whole snowball thing started, and so that was to end up having the league put him on a pedestal as something to be worshipped was just, it wasn't just another playoff series loss. It was kind of like it felt like it did losing to the Hawks, back in the day when there was like, it wasn't just losing a playoff series. It was like losing to them, right?
Yeah.
It just sucked extra hard. So,
well, I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. Like when all that went down and Bennington got hurt, and it was even during the series, and we were reading all the comments on social media, I had to jump off social media. Like,
yeah,
I know we talk about
so bad.
that. We talk about like, oh yeah, I had to take a break. I literally had to get off social media for like days at a time because I was starting to lose my shit with how the media was just all over it and just, oh yeah, Kadri, hero. This guy's great. Bennington's an ass. And it's just like, are we just, am I warping into another time frame where Kadri wasn't a piece of shit? Like, yeah, obviously what was said to him by a very small select few St. Louisans was awful, and I do not condone any of it. But to play the hero with him, I lost my shit. I was like, I can't take this. Like this, this is bothering me to where I can't focus on normal life. It bothered me to my core, and I had to take a break from it. I'm like, I got to get away from this. This is awful.
Yeah, it was the media propping him up. And I said this a number of times that I've dealt with every team's fan base over the past, since whenever, 99, 2000, whenever like discussion forums were, popular and you debate hockey with other teams' fans. It just tons of discussions with other teams' fans, some great, some not, some toxic, but those Avalanche fans last year, not all of them, but a lot of them were the worst group of fans as a whole that I have ever dealt with online. The trollingest, dumbest, just, I don't know. I don't know if it was a bunch of bandwagoners that were just, it was awful.
I remember going into the series and making a comment about how I was excited because I've only had good interactions with Avalanche fans. Like this series is going to be fun because that's how I felt with the Minnesota series. I mean, I remember we had one idiot that we had to block from the Twitter, our Let's Go Blues Radio Twitter.
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
Because he started making some ridiculous claims about what was going on. Whatever. That's a whole other thing. But that was one idiot in a 6-game series, 5-game series, whatever that was. With the Avalanche fans, like I said, going into the series, I was like, this is going to be fun. We're going to have a good time, Avalanche fans. Looking forward to this. But then the minute all that happened with Kadri and Bennington, I was just like, these are some of the dumbest people I've ever talked to on social media, and that is saying a lot.
It was bad. It was really bad. Because you like to have a back and forth with other teams' fans. You know, you get some good conversation. There was none. It was not.
Yep.
I mean,
none of
what?
it.
F117, whatever it is, Nighthawk. Is a Blues and Avs fan. You know, she was like one of the few that I saw
Yeah.
that was just a great.
She had a friend that was commenting with her that was
Yeah.
being pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But like
They were cool.
outside of those two, it was all bad.
And it wasn't
all bad experiences.
And it wasn't even like going. It wasn't a matter of like going into their circles. It was like they were coming into, you know, the STL Blue #STL Blues feeds and stuff, and just being complete. Yeah, you've always got a handful, right? Every series of morons saying stupid stuff, trolling. It was like
we see
95%, man. It was awful. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, every fan base, Blues do too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm sure Kadri could tell you.
Yeah, there's this guy. There's this guy on Blues Twitter named Billy Blue Note that is just awful.
Oh yeah,
I can't stand the guy.
He's nonstop.
Such a prolific tweeter of garbage.
All right. Yeah. So I think that we can stop talking about Colorado now. I think that'll wrap up this episode. Nice little live show with a nice interview. I think that was a winner.
Yeah, and
then
not only wrap up the episode, wrap up the season.
Wrap up the season,
guys. 10 seasons officially in the books. That's impressive.
Yeah, not too many podcasts do that. Stick with something for 10 seasons.
No,
so
it's something to pat ourselves on the back for. You two more so than me. I joined late, and you know I'm just here to be pretty and all that. And
late, like
such
what?
a good job.
7 seasons ago or something, whatever it was.
Yeah, something like that.
It was a while ago.
Yeah.
Curt. I mean, literally, like I know we've said this on the show before. First time I ever met you was episode 1. I mean,
in person.
We talked. Yeah, we talked online a ton. But like we literally met, like I think we met in your car because we met at the
right, because I had to drive you onto campus because I had the
right.
parking pass for the studio that was on campus.
Yeah. So the first time I ever meet Curt Price is meeting in a parking lot and just being like, "Hey, drive me to the studio we're going to record at. By the way, I'm Jeff." Like, it was just And then we went and we recorded an episode together. I mean, it was literally the first time we had ever met. It was it's wild to think about, but look at us now.
Considering that was the fact, we had never talked in person before, and the fact that we did a show. I mean, we look back on it, listen to the show. It's like, you know, it's kind of cringy. We're like, oh my gosh, we've changed so much, and we've gotten a lot more. You know, the back and forth has been a lot better. But you know, considering everything that you just said, and it was that was actually pretty good. We didn't do very bad. It was pretty good for the first ever episode. The flow was good.
If you tune into the show, right? If you were, because it's on Facebook. If you go over to Facebook right now, you could look up our first episode on our Facebook page. Literally, the start is what? Me going like this. And welcome to St. Louis Blues Radio. This is Jeff Ponder, and I'm joined by Curt Price and Jeff Quirin. Today, we're going to talk about the St. Louis Blues Giants signing Jason Arnott and Jamie Langenbrunner. I mean, we were so timid, and we listen to us now, and we're just like, blah, let's just yell at each other.
It's
ridiculous.
It's a comfortability thing. I think the conversation was good. I think the content was good, but I just think it's presented a lot better now, and I think it's just different. I mean, it's more not that we're polished by any means, but I think it's much more polished.
We're a polished turd. We're not just a turd anymore. We're a polished turd.
Right. Whatever you got to do. All right. Support for Let's Go Blues. Oh, so next episode, I guess, season 11. There we go. Whenever that is.
It'll be next week, right?
Next week.
Probably next Wednesday is my guess.
We will launch season 11.
And we're live from now on, right? I mean, the rare occasion we'll have an episode where maybe we can't go live, but throughout the season, if you're new to the show, we're here live every Wednesday. My wife still cannot understand this. Every Wednesday, unless the Blues play that night, then we will record on Tuesday or Thursday.
Right.
Shit,
Or
I still say that to her, and she's like, "What?
What?
And I'm like, "How long have we been together?"
Yeah, and I mean that's the plan, and that's
Yep.
almost every week. That way, there's the odd week we might do something weird and record on a weekend. I can't remember the last time we did that, but yeah, that's generally how it goes.
Yep.
Support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you in part by ID Life, the world's only truly personalized vitamin platform based on a health assessment of your DNA. Visit rockinthatidlife.com for more information. That's rockinthatidlife.com and get 10% off by emailing Dustin at rockinthatidlife@gmail.com and tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you, and by Center Ice Brewery, St. Louis's tasty hockey-themed beer. Check out your local beer vendors for availability. That's Center Ice Brewery Beer. Please drink responsibly. That'll wrap up episode 58 of season 10, which, what did I say, is 276 of all time? 276 of all time. 376. Sorry.
376.
376. That's a lot.
Just
We'll be hitting-
deleted 100 episodes.
Yeah, I know. Shame on me. Of the original and the longest running St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening, and thanks to those who participated in the YouTube and Facebook live chats during the live show on the new format, the new platform here. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. For Jeff Ponder and Bill Day, I'm Curt Price. Until next time, everyone, let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
The Chiefs are at home tonight against Cyanosport at the War Memorial at 8. Good seats are still available.
A look at fourth.
I think that went very well.
Thank you for listening to Let's Go Blues Radio. Now take off, hosers.
I want you to have a heart attack and die so that we never have to do this shit again.
Well, there's 90 minutes of your life you'll never get back. Sorry.
St. Louis Blues, St. Louis Blues. Have you heard the news about our St. Louis Blues? They've only just begun, they're on their way to number one. Now there's no more blues for our St. Louis Blues.